Hey, thank you for joining us today for our weekly devotional. Just like we've been for a while, we're going to be in the book of Proverbs, and today we'll be in Proverbs chapter 14. And we're just going to look at a couple of these Proverbs today and see how we can apply that to our life. And I hope that if you stick around and do this for a while, you won't really need to watch these videos anymore because you'll know how to read and apply scripture in your own life. So that's what we're hoping for. Let's dive into Proverbs chapter 14. We'll start in verse 4. So Proverbs 14:4 says, "Without oxen, a stable stays clean, but you need a strong ox for a large harvest." And this is a really interesting proverb to me because I didn't grow up necessarily around animals, even though that's something that I was around when we saw extended family. And so, I had always wondered what the difference between oxen and cattle were. And if you didn't know this, oxen are the same genetic species as cows, but they're bred more for strength and pulling things than for meat or for milk. And so different use of that cattle species. And so without oxen, the stable stays clean. There's a mess that comes along with a stable. But for people who live in agrarian cultures, if you do have livestock, you have opportunity for economic independence, for a large harvest is what the proverb says, for wealth, income, for gain. And so the point of this proverb is that if you sit around and don't really do much, you don't have a lot of responsibility. You have a pretty easy life, but you also miss out on a lot of opportunities. And so if you do choose to have the ox and to take all of the, we'll call it responsibilities that come with that, uh, there's a great benefit. There is potential for a wonderful, wonderful gain in life. And so, you know, it doesn't quite translate. It's not like, we could say without a truck, your garage stays clean. Well, we're not, it's not really a one-to-one correspondence there. But the point is that anything worth doing in our life, anything that we aspire to, anything meaningful, it's going to come with responsibilities that we don't like. Everything that we want to do, and I'm realizing as I'm talking about this, that this applies to me too. Everything that we want to do, that we enjoy, it tends to have a component that we don't really enjoy. For example, I like being around people. I like to work with technology. I like when technology works. Let me put it that way. We'll run with that one. I like when technology works. But in order for it to work at its best, it requires some maintenance behind the scenes. And man, I really don't like that. At the same time, I really like being married. I like the benefits that come with that. But there's also some responsibilities that come with that. I need to do certain things around the house. I need to maintain a relationship with my wife and with my children in order to keep my home going well. And so some of the time, for example, when it's 105 degrees outside, I'm the one that ends up having to do the yard work and take care of the outside of the house, even though I don't really enjoy it at that time, right? But I do enjoy having the good looking yard, and I enjoy when my wife says, "Hey, thanks for doing that," because she's taking so much care of the inside of the house, right? Like there, the things that we want in this life usually take work, and that's what this proverb is telling us. Is that it's telling us that in an agrarian sort of culture, without oxen, a stable stays clean, but you need a strong ox for a large harvest. And so that's kind of the first thing that we'll look at today. And then pulling another proverb out of chapter 14, 14:15 says, "Only simpletons believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps." I think you know where this one is going. So only simpletons or only fools believe everything they're told. I've been that person before where you hear from one person, certain things, and you just assume that's true. And so you go spouting it off to some other people, and it turns out you were wrong. And your foolishness shows, and that stinks. I really don't like when that happens. So the prudent carefully consider their steps and what they hear and the actions that they take. And so that, remember, when we're reading Proverbs, we're supposed to emulate the wise. And so we want to be the kind of person, or rather, uh, the way that we follow the Lord well is to be the kind of person who carefully considers different things that we're told. That means we don't immediately respond. We don't give we don't play the rumor game where we just the telephone game, right? Where you hear from somebody and you tell five more people, and then gets amplified. We're not doing that. Believers should be people who carefully consider and, first of all, consider the source that you heard this from, the information. And then you might check it with several different places and see if that information is really true. And then, if it is, you're going to consider the action steps. And so you're not even rushing into action once you figure it out. You're carefully planning and wisely making your course. And the benefit that comes with that is, it says, the prudent carefully consider their steps, is a sort of a balance, a dependableness in believers. When we act in this way, we are people who are trustworthy. We are people who can be, well, that's what trustworthy is. I was going to say can be trusted. We're people who don't make a giant mess of life, right? And so that's what we're called to do. And so today in these two Proverbs, we see a couple of different things. First of all, that as I used to hear all the time, anything worth doing, it takes a lot of work, right? That's what the proverb about the ox can teach us. And then here, it's, only the foolish believe everything that they're told, that they hear. So don't believe everything you hear. Those kind of things are based on biblical truth. And so we need to remember these two ideas and live by that in the coming days. So I hope that is helpful for you. I hope that you appreciate these two proverb examples today that both show us these contrasting parallelism, where the first line is contrasted by the second line. And if you want to talk more about Proverbs, you can reach out to me. You can email me, justin@greenwood.church, or you can come find me over at the information desk in between one of our worship services. I hope to see you soon. Y'all have a wonderful week.